How often do we procrastinate? How often do we say stuff like, yeah, I really should do that. I don't know. I guess I'm just lazy. We have a problem with too many choices, too many options, and not following through on any of them.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many diets does it take to get down to where you'd like to be at? Just one. The one you stick with. How many times you have to reorganize your office, your desk, your approach to your business, your profession, before you begin to see some of the results you'd like to see? Just one. The one you commit to and stick with.
You know, the difference when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
You don't start things and not finish. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. When I pick it up and say I'm gonna start it, I gotta finish it. It all don't work. It all ain't the best. It all ain't knocked out the park. But I walk away saying I finished it. I did it.
I don't ever feel like I lose because I won't give up. And if you don't win, you're upset and go back and win.
So when it's all said and done and I look back, I can go, I gave it 100% and look at how good I got. Look at what I'm a product of.
Don't try, do. Forget about trying. Forget about making an attempt. Forget about testing it out. Although you may not end up in the profession or in the area that you're starting out, you don't want to go halfway. You don't want to just dip your toe in. You want to jump in hard. Do not try, do. Go hard. It requires a tremendous amount of courage to say, I'm going to give this thing a chance. I'm going to give it my all. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But I know that I tried my best.
Where are the warriors that say, I'm gonna make a decision and I'm keeping it? Go deep into all these things that you love, 100%. Devote yourself to something bigger. Be decisive about what you're gonna do. Say, I'm gonna do it and that's it. And then be disciplined about getting it done every single day, whether you like it or not.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith. I'm gonna stay in the race. I'm gonna keep the faith. You ain't gonna make me mad enough to get out the race. No. I'm not gonna get tired enough to get out the race. But he's done so much for me. How do you keep the faith? How do you keep your head above water? How do you march against the tide? How do you stand up when everybody around you seems to be falling down? How do you keep firm and solid footing when everything underneath you seems to be slipping away? How do you keep the faith? Number one, you got to be a fighter.
Faith into action equals manifestation. Nothing is done without willpower. I want you to think about your major goal. And I want you to have a big goal. And why is that important? Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. You have greatness in you. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the contacts, if you don't have the relationship, none of those things matter. You have a goal and dream if you have the willpower to go after it.
You can never lose faith. That's the key. You have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to believe when you don't see no way how. Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. You have to buckle down and keep believing. If God told you you were going to be rich in August of 2021, do you know how crazy you would talk to people from now until then? Because you know on August 21, I'm going to be rich. But he don't tell you when the package is going to arrive. So here's the deal. He wants you to stay in faith to receive the package, because he only delivers to Faith Street. If you step off over here to I Don't See How Boulevard, he don't ship there. He does not ship there. He only sends the boxes to Faith Street.
And once you believe you deserve something, then you've at least opened the door to walk into the room of success. But prior to believing you deserve it, you can do all the work, all the calls, all the mechanics that the other people do. But if you don't believe you deserve it, you're never going to even walk into the room and sit at the table to have a chance to get your piece. The chair at the table, the space at the table is only reserved for those who believe they deserve to be sitting there. Hard work matters. Why does hard work matter? Well, hard work matters strategic because if you make more phone calls, you do the old adage, right? Show up earlier than everybody else, leave later. But there's something more deep about that. Yes, making more phone calls, seeing more people, being more active, being busier, putting in more hours into something always gives you a strategic chance. But something powerful happens when you do things other people aren't willing to do. You begin to believe you deserve to have things other people won't have. And that's what gets you a seat at the table of success.
Wisdom uninvested in labor is wasted. Even the highest of attitude, which is faith. Faith uninvested is wasted, produces nothing. The name of the game is to put faith and philosophy into activity so that it starts making progress, turning nothing into something. How do you do that? Here's how you start. There's 3 steps to it. Number 1, imagination. Now, imagination is not tangible, but it is almost real. Almost real. It's not real, but it's almost real. But it's hard to say that imagination is nothing. Imagination is not tangible yet, but it is the beginning of turning nothing into something.
And so, as a result of developing the faith, I expand my vision of doing things beyond my comfort zone. So expand your vision. There are more millionaires have been created last year than any other time in history. It's easier now to create wealth than ever before in our economy. And so having a service-driven life, looking at the things that you want to do, and having collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, learning every day that you have breath, you have an opportunity to serve. You have an opportunity to make a difference.
A man without a dream or vision shall perish. It's what God puts in your imagination for you to have. Everything God wants you to have, he puts it in your imagination. Albert Einstein said imagination is everything. It's to preview to life's coming attractions. It all happens at an appointed time, but you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen for you. I've been wanting to be on TV since I was 10 years old. You know how old I was before I got on TV? 38. 28 years after I wrote it on the paper. I want to be on TV. It took me 28 years to get on TV, but it happened at an appointed time. I just never gave up the faith. I kept going because I didn't know how to quit. Because I know if I quit, it cannot happen. But if you stay with it, you have no idea what can happen for you.
What causes that switch to flip? The overdrive, the beast mode, the full-on destroyer that will not stop.
You gotta go now. You just have to go. Never wait on the right time, because the right time ain't ever coming.
Beast mode is a lifestyle that becomes your nature. We all know these people who spend the whole year doing nothing, sitting still. And then all of a sudden, for 3 weeks out of the year, they suddenly spring into action, and things start moving, results start coming in. And right when you think you might be looking at a different person, they go right back to where they were 3 weeks before, and stay there for another year. These are the New Year resolution beach body people. These are the people who want to lose the weight. They talk about losing the weight, buy the gear to lose the weight, get a membership, get into position to lose the weight, but quit because training is at 5:30 in the morning.
Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be the top of the top until it's time to do what Phenomenal does. I'm not scared that some kid's gonna take my spot. If he does, he's gonna have to do it with sweat. He's gonna have to do it with tears. He's gonna have to do it with blood. He is going to have to get up at 2:30 in the morning. If he can get up every day at 2:30, He deserved to take my spot. Some people are taking your spot and they shouldn't take it, but because you're average, it's easy to take your spot. It's easy. It's easy to take that client before you get to him. It's easy. It's easy to beat you. Why? You average. But let me tell you something. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
Right now is a time of year where you can really separate yourself. You can separate yourself from other people, your competition, but you can also separate yourself from where you are, from the standards you've set. You can separate yourself from your current position to a new position in your relationships, your money, your body, your business. If somebody's ahead of you, it's difficult to catch them when they're at full speed. It just is. It's difficult. They're in front of you, they're running full speed, and you're chasing them down. It's difficult to catch at those times. But where you do catch people is during what I call separation seasons. And these are the seasons where some people begin to flinch, they get weak, they take time off, they relax, they get casual about their routine. Maybe they're not as sure about their standards as they once were. And when they do that, they flinch, bam, you blow their doors off because you keep pushing and separate yourself during that time. This isn't just about competing against other people. It's separating yourself from where you currently are, which is what all of you want to do. It's called growing.
You see, beast mode is about the hunt. And if you don't get that, if you don't understand that, then you'll think that you can just turn it on whenever you want. I've got to pass this class. Time to get into beast mode. I've got to get this promotion. Time to get into beast mode. But that's not how it works. It's about the hunt. The hunt is what terrifies people. People don't even understand the hunt because it's primal. It's do or die. It's all or nothing. The hunt. Hunting is about practice. It's the practice of patience. It's the refinement of process. It's the lessons of failure. It requires time. It builds experience. It demands resilience, endurance, and collaboration. So when the win happens, it happens fast and frequently.
Why is it you can give someone everything? Support, encouragement, education, money, opportunity. And people you give the most to sometimes spend their life going in and out of rehab their whole life. And then you see people that life is just kicked in the teeth. People have been through any form of abuse, mental, emotional, physical, any. People that had no opportunity, who somehow developed the one factor that will separate you from all those people that talk a good game and make you one of the few who do. It's called hunger. See, if you look at Sir Richard Branson, a good friend of mine, Richard, this guy's as hungry today as when he was 16 years old, starting virgin in a crypt there in England. In his late 60s, he's got the same drive.
The most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. Sometimes you act on it good, sometimes bad. You gotta change the internal dialogue. Until you change the internal dialogue in your head, until you callous over the victim's mentality, that the world is out to get you because of you are the only, you gotta change that, man. And if you keep that mentality, you're gonna stay in the same exact spot that you're in.
You're not gonna drop 42 pounds in one season. That's gonna take some endurance. You're not going to become your best self all by yourself. That's going to take some collaboration. So stop trying to be a beast for a week and realize that it's about a lifestyle. You live it day in and day out. And when you practice that long enough, it becomes your nature.
In life, we really will never exceed what we believe we're worth. We just never will. And so if you can begin to do things you think other people aren't willing to do, or maybe do things the former you weren't willing to do, you begin to believe that the new you deserves things other people won't get, and the new you deserves to get things the former you didn't get either. And so this is why this season is so critical. And I've stacked up maybe 30 straight separation seasons. There's other ones. There's summertime, right? There's times like that. But right now is the big one. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone gets kind of casual. Everyone slows down. And one day turns into 3 days, turns into 4 days. You know, Christmas is a holiday. It's not a hol-a-month. New Year's Eve is a holiday, not a hol-a-month or a hol-a-week. But people keep taking these hollow weeks and hollow months this time of year, and it's when you get them. It's when you get the former you. It's when this new version of you emerges. And so take advantage of this season. It's the greatest of all seasons. And I can tell you, it's one of the reasons why, if I do have some good things going on in my life, is I separated during this time. I separated from the old me, and I separated from my competition.
It takes both emotion and logic for you to reach your maximum potential, to really give everything you have and go beyond your limits. So when it doesn't make sense, logical sense, to go on, that's when you got to use your emotion. That's when you got to use that anger, that frustration, that fear to push yourself harder, to push yourself to say, I don't stop. So you fight the weak emotions with the power of logic, and you fight the weakness of logic with the power of emotions. And in the balance of those two, that's where you find the strength and the tenacity and the guts to say to yourself, I don't stop.
It's a dogfight of skills and talents and luck and faith and circumstance and blessing and all that stuff. But just to get to the table, to get into the room, you have to believe you deserve to be there. The hard work part plays into shifting your identity. That over time, not even that long a period of time, when you're doing the things others are unwilling to do, you begin quietly to begin to believe that, oh, I deserve to be rewarded in ways these other people aren't going to be rewarded because I'm doing the things others won't do. And so the fastest way to change your identity, to change our belief, is just to flat get to work, to flat get there earlier, to flat leave later, to just make more calls, see more people, be more relentless, just pour ourselves into the work, because actually the hard work can in reverse impact our identity. And that's the key in changing your belief. So ask yourself this question, honestly, in whatever business you're in. Have you done everything physically and mentally possible to get yourself to that table? If you've done everything you're capable of doing, if you've been relentless and ferocious and invested so much time, effort, and energy that inside you know you deserve to win. Or if you held something in reserve, if you've not really given it your best, if you kind of hoped you'd get a little bit luckier, well, it's that little bit of reserve you hold back that will ultimately keep you from sitting at the table of success.
How would we start to strengthen our belief in that what we imagine is possible to turn it into reality? And there's 2 or 3 ways. One is to believe your own testimony. If you've done it before, why couldn't you do it again? If you've done it once, couldn't you do it the second time? Why not believe in your own testimonial? I was rich by age 31 and broke by age 33. You know, I lost the money, but I didn't lose the skills. And that's what's important about personal development. You can lose the money, but not the skills, so who cares about the money? Unless it's getting late, right? And you're like 90, and you know, it's a little difficult to go back to the streets, but hey, once you've got the skills, you own the skills. So we start with imagination, which is almost real. I mean, it's not real yet. It's not tangible yet, but it's almost real. Now we move to faith, to believe that what we imagine is possible. So we study our own testimony. If we've done it before, we can do it again. Here's what else we study. Other testimonials of somebody who did it. Somebody that built a hotel said, yes, I started with some plans and finally believed it was possible, and here it is. You say, well, if it's possible for one, it's possible for another. In fact, sometimes when we hear the testimonial, here's how they finish. If I can do it, you can do it. See, that's a classic testimonial that gives us now what we call faith. Faith is generated by what we hear, the vocabulary of what we hear, the vocabulary of what we read. That generates faith, to believe that it's possible. Now, faith is not reality. You can't say faith is nothing, because it affects. It's like radiation. To us, it's nothing because it can't be seen. But radiation is so powerful, it can kill you. Right? You can't see it, but it has an incredible effect. And that's true of faith. Faith can't be seen, but it has an incredible effect on your attitude, on your behavior, on your disciplines, on your work for the day, and all the rest. So faith is tangible in that sense, that it affects the emotions, it affects the drive. It's called the unseen magic. But now here's what we do with faith and imagination. We deposit it in disciplines and activity. Imagination without the activity to translate it into reality serves no purpose. But wisdom and faith deposited in activity creates reality. The reality of a career, the reality of a hotel that wasn't there.
You must understand that life has a way of taking you through perilous times, transitions and traumas, adversities, crisis, good days and bad days. I don't care how clean you live and how righteous you are, you're going to have trouble sometime. Life has a way of being its own schoolmaster. And over a period of years, without any college classes, courses, books, or tapes, life will teach you something. You soon learn that life has its own pattern and it has its own rhythm. If you are a connoisseur of life, you observe all things. You learn from all people. You learn from all life's events. And after a while, you start drawing conclusions. When you start drawing conclusions, you draw them not for the benefit of judging other people, but you draw conclusions in the hopes that you might begin to understand what life is all about. Because after you lived a long time, you wise up a little bit. Just by virtue of staying here on the planet, of surviving good days and bad days, of seeing the sequence of life.
The world is not like the movies. The movies aren't real. They don't exist. But you do. And life, this life it's better than any movie there is. Go out into the world and actually feel it. Go feel joy and love and triumph and rapture and ecstasy and glory. Go feel those things. And you know, with those feelings, there will be other feelings as well. There will be sorrow and pain and sadness and desolation and suffering. There'll be all those feelings too, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Take both sides. Feel all that. That's what life is. Those feelings, those emotions, those highs and those lows, those are life.
If you really want to be transformed, you have to live an intentional life. This is so simple, I don't want you to miss it. Most people don't lead their life, they accept their life. And when you accept your life, you are living on things that are not worthy of your time and effort and energy. And you heard me say in the moment, everything worthwhile is uphill. The reason I want you to understand that is to go uphill, you have to be intentional. Nobody ever went uphill by accident. You've never read a book on accidental achievements. You have to be intentional with what you do and who you are. And so I would just say to you, find your strengths, become very intentional, and commit your life every day to it's all uphill. See, the great mistake we make is we think, I'm going to go out and make enough money, and there's a day when I can relax and I can rest and everything's going to be easy. Can I tell you something? The day that you have that day, one of your children, gets in an accident. Problems will never, ever leave you. Issues, obstacles, difficulties, they're always going to surround you. So you never get to that place where you've got it made. You're not supposed to got it made. You're supposed to add value to people, and it's all uphill. So the moment I understand that, then what happens is I commit myself to it, and then it becomes a beautiful uphill climbing life. Because one thing that's beautiful about going uphill is the scenery is really good.
See, if you wake up every day and you say you're not a morning person, you're doing a serious disservice to yourself. Because your attitude determines your altitude. A lot of your mornings start off bad because you've taken claim that you're not a morning person. Why would you not be a morning person when the whole goal is to wake up every morning. You got to be in the life-changing business. People have got to look at you like a light. Something should be in you to show other people that there's hope. You don't know this about yourself, but you're gonna be that person one day. And you gotta start preparing for what you wanna be. At least let God know you're glad you're alive. If you don't let nobody else, you don't know it, but you're gonna be a light one day. And people are gonna look to you for that light.
I believe in winning the battle against yourself, because there's a lot of things you can control. When you wake up, I talk about making your bed. Make your bed, make sure your house is clean, make sure you get your breakfast, make sure you shower, shave, whatever you're doing, control that. Don't hit the snooze button. All these things are very important. That's been told a lot of times. Why don't you hit the snooze button? Because you wake up already failing. You're already behind the power curve. So what happens when you hit the snooze button? You may not make your bed. You may not pick the right clothes out in the morning time. So that's the mindset that I think it's important to bring with you every day you go, everywhere you go in life.
Time is the inexplicable raw material of everything. With it, all is possible. Without it, nothing. The supply of time is truly a daily miracle, an affair genuinely astonishing when one examines it. You wake up in the morning and lo, your purse is magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. It is yours. It is the most precious of possessions. No one can take it from you. It is unstealable. And no one receives either more or less than you receive. In the realm of time, there is no aristocracy of wealth and no aristocracy of intellect. Genius is never rewarded by even an extra hour a day. And there is no punishment. Waste your infinitely previous commodity as much as you will, and the supply will never be withheld from you. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. You cannot waste the next hour. It is kept for you. I have said the affair was a genuine miracle. Is it not? You have to live on this 24 hours of daily time. Out of it, you have to spend health, pleasure, money, content, respect, and the evolution of your immortal soul. Its right use, its most effective use, is a matter of the highest urgency and of the most thrilling actuality. All depends on that. Your happiness, the elusive prize that you are all clutching for, my friends, depends on that.
How do you have time for anything? How do you have time to dink around on Facebook? How do you have time to watch hours and hours of TV? How do you have time to do anything? It's simply because that's where you put the priority. So don't tell yourself you don't have time. Just say it's not important. And maybe it isn't, and that's okay. But if it is, make the time to get it done.
If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. That's hard.
Remember how you had a job interview for a job? We've had several of them in our lives. What did you do the night before that job, weeks before the job interview? You knew you had it. You prepared you had a bowl out for your oatmeal, your cereal, whatever you had in the morning time. Your coffee cup was out. Your clothes were laid out. You studied, you rehearsed, you were ready. You brought your best self. You were going to war with yourself because you wanted that interviewer to see your best self. You won. You got the job. After a few months in that job, you look around, I got the job. You start to back off. The clothes aren't out. You hit the snooze button. You don't get up on time anymore. for. You realize that you can still have this job and not be your best self. The interview you is gone. You have your job, but the interview you is gone. So winning the battle in the morning time is just that. It's that you wake up in the morning time and you own all this stuff, because once you leave your house, the world then gets at you. And that's why I believe in not getting up in the morning time and checking your phone immediately. Everybody does that. They get up, the first thing they do is grab their phone, look at the phone. Maybe bad news on there. So how's your day start off? I don't go to the gym. You're caught up now on that phone. That's how your day starts. You lost control. So once you win that battle in the morning time, then once you go out, now you've won. You go outside your house, you may lose your job, you may have a bad hit, but you won something. So you're going into battle having already won something. Having already won. So then, if you hit the snooze button, you go out, you're just defeated already. You're behind the power curve. Now you've won something. You feel better about yourself. So now you're able to take these hits along the way.
Well, we all know sleep is really good for you. In fact, I cheat myself because I could probably, if I could sleep a little longer, I would probably be better, because all medical science tells you that how important, 7-8 hours of sleep is for each person. What I want to say to you is, when you wake up. Don't sleep during the day. Don't get a little bit unconscious and let life pass you. Be intentional. Go for it. Be in the moment. Be alert. Be aware. Seize the time. We don't have much of it. I guess what I'm really saying is, when you're awake, stay awake. Then when you sleep, it's a little bit more legal.
If one cannot arrange that an income of 24 hours shall exactly cover all proper items of expenditure, one does muddle one's whole life indefinitely. We shall never have any more time. We have, and we have always had, all the time there is. It's not that difficult to get something started, and you run it for a while, and after a while it starts running you. That's part of the challenge. I told my staff one day, giving birth to a tiger is one thing, learning how to ride it is something else, right? Sometimes you start it, and then it turns around and starts giving you all kinds of trouble. If you're working already 8-10 hours a day, that's about it. You just can't work much more than that. Bursts at a time, you can work 12, 14, 16, right? I'm sure we've all learned to do that, put in the extra time. But after a while, you pretty well have to put your life in balance, or your health is in jeopardy, and your heart's in jeopardy, your blood pressure's in jeopardy, a lot of things, if you don't stay in balance. So you don't have to put any more hours, probably. All you have to do is just make better use of the hours. A cliche we've all heard. It's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours that counts.
Survival is necessary, but survival isn't living. The real problem with life is that at some point, you've got to start living it. Participation is required. This thing is not a spectator sport. You have got to get in the game and sweat it out. Yes, you'll get banged up. You'll get tossed around. You'll take some losses, but you'll also pick up some important wins. Wins that go a long way to developing who you are and your contribution to this world. I'm saying you've got to live as though it's an easy thing to do. As though there was some switch in your bedroom you can flip to get your real life started. Oh no. Life is easy. It is. Life is easy. It happens spontaneously. It happens all around you all the time. Living is hard. How many rules must you imprison yourself with before you get it? Before you see that the rules you write to protect yourself from the mistakes you made, to protect yourself from where you came from and what happened to you, can become your prison if you're not careful. And I believe that that's what happens to most people. They go through life making tiny edits to living. Little footnotes that read, "She said my teeth were crooked, so I won't smile with my whole face anymore. Because I got hurt last time, I won't trust again. I was so disappointed last time I tried, I won't let myself want again." You see what I'm getting at? These rules start early, and sometimes they're forced on you. So I know living is hard. Being stuck in anger, that's a rule for how you should respond to a particular situation. Being ravaged by anxiety, that's a rule for how you should react to uncertainty. Indecisiveness, procrastination, these are rules for how you should react to opportunity. Rules, 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 they're everywhere. Damn the rules and ask yourself, am I living?
So make your own comic book. Make your life your own movie. Actually make it better than a movie. Not better because it's more adventurous or more romantic or more melodramatic. Make it better because it's real. So go out there, move toward the light, and live. It's real, so it is better. And you know what? Real comes with some downsides. Real comes with some darkness. But that's okay. It's okay because when you know the darkness, the light becomes even brighter.
Am I going through life with my old self? Am I fully experiencing the moments, or am I watching them go by? Am I doing all I can with the opportunities that life is presenting? Am I enjoying life, or am I managing it? Are my happiness and my joy conditional? If I died today, would my life have been fully used up? I'm not preaching, I'm just asking. Living isn't just about the adventurous and the exciting things you do, the things you post on Instagram. Living is about the hard places. It's also about the dark places. Living is about where it hurts, going to those places. It's about processing pain, changing attitudes. It's about lifting those blocks, obstructing your path to the experience called living. If you feel this, if your heart is starting to race, if your mind is starting to churn, that's you. That's you saying, yes, I want to live again. I want to start living again. Don't tell me about change. I know about change. I want to know specifically, what are you going to do? Who are you going to forgive? What are you going to let go of? When do you admit that you have a problem? When do you conclude that maybe it's you? When do you allow yourself to love and to be loved again? What I do know is that this is the only life I remember. This is the only life I have, and I intend to use it up. I'm going to experience fully what there is. That means the victories and the losses. That means the laughter and the tears, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start living again.
I've resolved in my spirit, in my heart, that every experience is my education. So the good experiences and the bad experiences, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to discover the opportunity for me to grow and for me to get better. You have to make a decision that I will learn from this thing.